Right. I think we're good to go. Um, so let's just dive right in here. Good evening and welcome to Ocean Steward Spotlight, where we're having conversations with ocean stewards from diverse backgrounds in order to connect ocean lovers with stories that inspire them. My name is Nancy Pine. I'm Oceana's Field Director in Washington, D.C., and I have the privilege of talking to Ms. Patt Gunn tonight. Ms. Gunn is a master storyteller and cultural heritage entrepreneur from Savannah, Georgia. She runs underground tours and serves as president of the Center for Jubilee, Reconciliation, and Healing. Thank you so much for being here, Pat. I've heard so much about you from our mutual friend, Paulita, and it's really great to put a face to a name.
It is my honor, Nancy, to be here. I'm so proud of what you guys are doing at Oceana, so my honor to be here. Good evening, everyone. Or as we say, how y'all be? How y'all be?
Love it. So before I dive into the questions, I was hoping that you could just tell us a bit more about the Gullah Geechee people.
Absolutely. I'm always excited to talk about Gullah Geechee. Um, we are a people that are the descendants directly to those enslaved Africans that came here in the transatlantic slave trade of the antebellum circa. There are four states that are actually the acknowledged states: it's North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and some parts of Florida. Um, Gullah Geechee people, Gullah is from the Angola tribe, Geechee is from the Geechee tribe, and the Gullah Geechee word is interchangeable. We're people that have so many celebrations inside of us. We celebrate our folk ways, our food ways, our spirituality, and our burial rights. We celebrate all kinds of things, but one of the most precious rights we celebrate is our water rights. So I'm excited tonight to delve into the water issue in terms of the ocean. We love the ocean; it's our strength. So just honored to be here to represent the Gullah Geechee community on the coast of Georgia. Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, I'll admit, before I started at Oceana, I didn't know much about Gullah culture at all, and I've just found it to be such a rewarding partnership that we've been able to have with the Gullah community, not just in Georgia, but also South Carolina and North Carolina. So yeah, it's great to talk about it. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes.
And we're definitely going to dive into the water rights piece in just a bit, but I'd like to learn a bit more about you. So do you have a moment or something in your mind where you can really think of the time when you fell in love with the ocean and, you know, you had your moment with the ocean, so to speak?
I think that I've always had a connection to the ocean. I'm number seven of 10 children, so I had seven brothers and two sisters, and we just woke in the morning and celebrated today. We're going to the ocean. My older brothers and sisters would go with my uncles and my dad to the ocean to go deep sea fishing. So we get on these boats and we go deep sea fishing with about maybe 20 to 25 people, and they have a good time fishing and telling a lot of Gullah Geechee stories. And when they return, whatever we catch that day, we all split it up so that everyone is sharing, because some people did not catch any fish. So we have to share that fish. And of course, when you come back, you have Friday night fish fries. You have people that have tall tales about the fish that they caught that we know they didn't catch. But the waterways has always just been in our DNA. I tended to wait until they got back from the ocean, and I was a part of the foodway in terms of preparation. But once I did go out with them and I was enjoying myself, I took my hands and I placed it in the water on the boat and enjoyed the dolphins. And when I got back, they said, you know, there wasn't really a dolphin, those were sharks. But we were taught to not be afraid of the sharks. So we're just blowing around water. We can go out on a boat and have a good time. And in the middle of that trip, we'll just go for a swim. So we're just Gullah Geechee people. Water is just a part of our DNA. It's just a part of us that gives us strength. It really, really does. Yeah.
That's great. You're also making me hungry. We're too close to going out fishing. Yeah, let's dive into the issue of water rights. Can you tell us more about the significance and what it means to the Gullah Geechee community on the Georgia coast?
Well, in our African tradition, not even the Gullah Geechee, because it's more of a Pan-African approach, we always been connected to the water. And on this side, what we try to do in the Gullah Geechee community is to, especially Georgia, is to teach the young people that if you're ever overwhelmed, especially now with this pandemic going on, if you're feeling overwhelmed, we tell people that as soon as you can, stop what you're doing and get to the water. The water absorbs anything that's negative. You're depressed, oppressed, and filled with anxiety. We tell you to get to an ocean if you live near an ocean, get to a lake, get to a swimming pool, get to a bathtub with candles, but get to some water. If you don't get to some water and you're feeling overwhelmed and you continue down that road, you're going to burn out. And in the process of burning out, you're going to hurt someone. So we advise folks to get to the water as much as possible. You come to Savannah and you're looking for Sister Pat sometimes, and I disappear. I'm writing my bio. Well, I'm at Sapelo. I'm on Sapelo Island where there are no phones that work, and we get over there and we enjoy the fishing going on. We have master fishermen that come in with all kind of seafood, and we enjoy ourselves. But we know how to disappear and get to the water. Yes.
I love that. Makes me a little jealous of you being right on the coast. We're pretty landlocked here in Washington.
I understand. Yes. Well, you guys can come on down anytime now. The water's here for you. For sure.
I cannot wait to be able to travel again. I tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Paulita also encouraged me to ask you about some special sacred water spaces and what those are and how they're important to your work.
Yeah, so I have a company, tour company called Underground Tours, and we are about healing and reconciliation. And I always tell people about the transatlantic slave trade and how we came in on the waterways. I tell them about Ibu Landing. You guys should Google it. It's called The Legend of Ibu Landing. Ibu is spelled I-B-O and sometimes I-D-B-O. It talks about these enslaved Africans that came here, and they decided once they checked the scene out that they're not going to be enslaved. And so they began to chant, the water brought us and the water carry us home. The water brought us here and the water will bring us back to Africa. So water is so important. I tell that story on our tour. I got a call from one of our tour guests to say, you told the story of Lazaretta Creek. Lazaretta Creek is like our Sullivan's Island. Lazaretta Creek is the area where they were quarantined when they brought the enslaved in, and you had to stay there for a particular time period. Lazaretta meaning pest house. And so we found about 3 months ago the mouth of Lazaretta Creek. They were calling it at Tybee Island a secret beach. And when I went to set my eyes on it, we decided it's not a secret beach, it's a sacred beach. We began to trace the mapping, and it was confirmed by several historians that this is the mouth of Lazaretta Creek, and it's the area where our ancestors came in. And so because of that, we are now working to commemorate that area on Sunday, October the 11th, for example, a pre-anti-Christopher Columbus Day, the Indigenous Peoples Day. We're gathering on Sunday morning at Lazaretta Creek for homage, and then we're going to talk about ways to commemorate, maybe a marker or maybe a walk, but we found the mouth of the river where our ancestors came in. We found remnants of the actual 9-level quarantine hospital. So it is exactly indeed a sacred place, a space where we want people to come and pay homage. I do believe that in America right now, this season, it's time to heal. This is a time of atonement. So wouldn't it be great for people to come to Lazaretta Creek and walk that land and envision these enslaved coming in and say some type of prayer or homage to them? It's not a peaceful sight. You can feel the spirits of the ancestors, But I think the more people gather around that water, we can make it a peaceful place. So yes, I'm working on that project and a couple of other projects, but this one at Lazaretta Creek is my most important project, I would say, this year. It's very sacred.
Hmm. That's beautiful. I'd love to hear a bit more about your tour company, and it's very renowned. So again, I cannot wait to get back to Savannah. But pretend we're on a tour with you. What would be some of the sites you'd point out?
Yeah, so you would come on this tour, and we have been categorized as a, a walking tour in theater in motion. So when you come on this tour, you'll meet me as the conductor, and we'll take you on a 2-block radius walk of all of the sacred places in downtown Savannah where enslaved Africans dwell. You will see the waterways where they came into the Savannah dock. I'll take you into the slave holding bins where they held the slaves. I'll take you to the walls where they left their imprints. I'll take you into spiritual areas where the lime and the algae are mixing together to formulate images of people and struggle, and it's changing all the time. We'll take you to the Factors Walk area where cotton was king. I'll show you ironworks, symbols on inlaid in iron put together by the Adinkra tribe from Ghana, where they put together all these fabulous symbols, and they're all over downtown Savannah on buildings. We have actually found 87 symbols altogether. So if you Google Adinkra symbols, you will find that there are 4,000 plus, and they're all positive, and they're all over our buildings downtown. I think at some point, someone suggested we have a scavenger hunt. So stay tuned. Maybe we'll have a day of just a scavenger hunt of finding all of them. And then the last stop is a homage stop. It's a stop at the last stop at the Johnson Square, which is where the slave auction block is. I think, Nancy, the real issue is that it's about healing. So we do one thing for sure when people come on the tour. We tell them it's a difficult story to tell. So I interweave reenactors along the way. So as you're in the slave holding bin, I'll have a slave reenactor to show up and do a slave reenactment of what it felt like to be in a slave holding bin. At another stop, I'll have a woman getting ready to be auctioned off. But by the last stop, I have freedom singers there, and they sang Amazing Grace and Kumbaya and all of that. So at the beginning of the tour, we let folks know it's a difficult story, but we guarantee them one thing, and that is you will not leave our tour in a saddened face, because it also talks about the human spirit. And so people leave there filled with honor and pride because we know how to tell the story with grace. And it's not a chore for us, it's an honor. No matter if we're walking with 2 people or 30, we are just honored to take them on the tour. So we say to them, come walk with us and let us show you. And so that's our most popular tour. We have other tours. We take you to day trips like Sapelo Island and different places. We're preparing to go to the Whitney Plantation down in Louisiana. So we try to be creative. If someone calls us and says, hey, I have a group and I want something to do, we'll put something together. We had a young man that called us. He's getting married next month, and he's going to do his marriage proposal on our tour. So we have got to get creative for him. I have no idea how I'm going to surprise his fiance with him, but we'll think of something. Maybe I'll have him jump the broom on our tour. Maybe he'll jump the broom on our tour in advance. Maybe I'll marry them off. Who knows?
Surprise, you're married.
Yes. Indeed.
I loved hearing, obviously going on a tour like this, that's heavy content, right? And the
Very
idea that,
so,
yeah, just the idea that you could leave feeling uplifted and connected. I imagine that's very much connected to your nonprofit work as well. And yeah, can you tell us about the Center for Jubilee Reconciliation? And
it evolved from underground tours. I noticed that when people left our tour, they were so overwhelmed with the information, they needed a place to gather. So the Center for Jubilee opened about 7 years ago, and we began to celebrate the day that slaves were freed in Savannah, which is the 21st of December, 1864. So every year for the past 7 years, we've had Jubilee Freedom Day. And Jubilee Freedom Day is freedom songs on the river. We go into the slave bins, and we have what we call a group of artivists. As a matter of fact, Paulita is one of our artists, and she helps us in planning. And they take those 4 slave holding bins and turn them into artist bins. So the first bin, for example, is a visual art bin where people come in and look at beautiful visual art. We have a literary bin with writers and poets. We have a spoken word bin. We have a freedom bin with freedom songs. And the last bin is a bin where the students from all over the city of Savannah reads from the slave manifesto names. So the Center for Jubilee's goal is to do healing and reconciliation. So that's one of the things we do. We just opened a gallery, and it's called the Savannah Gallery on Slavery and Healing. And it's the continuation of the conversation once they leave the river. People need to come to a physical place. And so we are reopening next month. And so people can come to the Savannah Gallery on slavery and healing and see visual art. They can see music. We have a library as well as a media center. So we are just all about healing and reconciliation. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. And I know I'd say my cat's trying to join us on this conversation. But I know water, again, is very important to you. And you've, Paulita said that anytime she asks you to do anything with her for Oceana, you're always up for it. So
always, when it comes to the water, absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess, you know, thinking about some of our listeners as they're watching this, many folks are passionate about the oceans, but if you could talk to them and just, you know, for folks who love the ocean but don't really know how to get involved, what steps would you to get them involved in protecting water?
Well, I would say get involved with your local community, especially if you live near the waterways. And if you have family members that even live by the waterways or can support your work, start a small circle of people that can gather and become familiar and educated about how important water is to our community. We live below sea level. We have lots of hurricanes, so water affects us all the time. Every season, we have to have some type of hurricane that gives us an evacuation process. So water is critical in a good and a bad way, but we don't want people to have offshore drilling near the waterways where we utilize our families and our good times. We don't want to have seismic guns. So we should educate ourselves as a step one to find out what's going on around where I live, if I live in an area where there's ocean. And if there's something going on in terms of some of those challenges, then it's time to gather people and begin to get involved. You guys have so much power now. You are kings and queens of social media. You're looking at a Gullah Geechee woman. We say Gullah Geechee woman, but you're looking at a Gullah Geechee woman who is 62 years old. So if you do your numbers, I was born in segregation and introduced to integration. So I've seen two centuries. I'm kind of dating myself, but I'm saying that I've seen the 20th century, and we had to do marches, and we had to kind of lobby people. Now with the stroke of a keypad, you guys can organize thousands of people around your issues. So I say take advantage of it and organize around the places that are close to your heart, and you will find that water is always a precious resource that will always protect you, always guide you, and make things all right. So protect it and get educated. And then I would say it's a 3-prong effect that I'm going to share. And I'm telling you guys, it has worked for me for 6 decades. The process is agitate, educate, and then organize. So agitate folks who are coming against you and your water rights. And then after you agitate that there's a problem, begin to educate your circle. And after you get them agitated and educated, you can organize them for a cup of justice. I promise you. And give me a call. I like some good trouble. I'll help you.
I love it. Organizing is near and dear to my heart. So I'm glad I'm the one that gets to hear that from you. Thank you. Yeah. And you know, the other, I think we've got 2 audiences, I think, watching these spotlights. You know, the folks who are interested in getting involved, but then we also are talking to folks who already are involved. Do you have a message or maybe a vision for the ocean conservation community, and how we can take the next next step and protect the resources that we love?
I have to go back to our freedom songs. There's a freedom song that says, "I shall not be moved." You guys cannot be moved. Water is essential to our soul. So you have to continue to hold steadfast and immovable on the issue of water and the importance of the ocean. You have to throw a wide net. I need you to throw a wide net and make it as intergenerational as you possibly can in terms of elders like myself who have some wisdom that can guide some of the younger people who have wonderful ideas and energies. Try to bring communities together around this issue because it affects all of us. And I guarantee that when you do that, you can get lots and lots of protections for the water rights. I remember Dr. King said, freedom is never given by the oppressor, it's demanded by the oppressed. So if you feel challenged in your area regarding protecting your water rights, I would say get together with an intergenerational heart and gather people around it, and you'd be surprised how much motion, positive motion, you will have in terms of getting your victory done. Regardless of whether it's local, state, or national, or even international, raise your voices and stay steadfast and immovable that this is a right place to protect the ocean, for sure. Or as we say, for true.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I didn't check with you ahead of time, but I've also heard that you're a big performer and that you've performed at the White House even. Can you
Yeah.
talk a bit about that? Maybe give us a song?
Well, yeah. So maybe I'll give you a White House story and then a little song. Is that okay?
That would be wonderful.
I always let people know it's myself and my performers. We're called the Saltwater Players. So it's not just me, but a bunch of us went to the White House in, I believe, 2015. I always try to preference when I say I've gone to the White House, I went in a certain year. I don't want them to think I went in 2020. Haha. So we got an invitation to go to the White House. It was the 150th anniversary of the end of slavery. So they chose groups from around the nation. They sent us an invitation about 6 months before the event and said, you're invited. You can't tell anybody. We're vetting everyone, so not to say anything. And the first thing I thought was, how could they send a letter to a Gullah Geechee person asking them to keep a secret for 6 months? No such a thing, as we say. We can't keep a secret for 6 months. So I was so excited about going to the White House, I decided that I'm going to tell people I'm going to the White House, but I'll do it in code so I won't get in trouble. So I would go around to different places where I got my hair done or in a mall or something and see people. And I say, I'm going to Washington and we're going to perform at a big White House. And they kind of put it together and began to buzz. When we got to the White House, we performed in the Rose Garden of President Obama, and his family was just eloquent. And they had an opportunity to meet and greet the president, and they had like a line so we could go in there. When President Obama and his family came through to greet us, he said to us, and we're in our costumes, we took our ring sticks, our tambourines, our scrub boards, every type of percussion you can imagine, we were there. And he said, are you that group from Savannah? He said, yes. And he said, and I quote, I knew you were here when you entered the White House gates because I could feel your spirits. That was the best compliment ever. I could have just left from there. It complimented and affirmed Gullah Geechee people. We knew you were here because we could feel your spirits. We love that because we carry the spirits of the ancestors. So we love this song that Sweet Honey and the Rock sings called Bring Me a Little Water, Sylvie. So it's like, bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water, child. Bring me a little water, Sylvie, fast as you can. Sylvie came a running, bucket in her hand. I need a little water every little once in a while. Bring me a little water, Sylvie. Bring me a little water now. Bring me a little water, Sylvie, fast as you can. Sylvie, come a running, bucket in her hand. I will bring you water fast as I can. Woo! Bring it in a bucket, Sylvia. Yeah. Bring it in a bucket, child. Bring it in a bucket, Sylvia. Fast as you can. I need a little bit of water every little once in a while. I need a little water every little once in a while. Thank you.
Thank you. I cannot think of a better way to have ended this conversation. I'm being pulled off the stage with the cane right now. I would love to keep chatting with you, Pat. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. My honor. Thank you for having me. Yes. Yes.
And any parting words for the viewers?
For the group? Yeah, if I could just part with you guys to say stay well, stay safe, and remember, Sister Pat told you to get to the water. WATA with a little accent on it. Get to the water. Get to the water. Get to the water. I say.
Perfect parting words. Sam, can you throw up the information for how folks can learn more about Ms. Gunn's business and her nonprofit work? There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll see you soon. And I would like to take the moment to make a plug for our next Ocean Steward Spotlight. We'll be back on Thursday, October 22nd. We'll hear from David Riera, a Florida International PhD candidate, a U.S. Marines veteran, and a South Floridian who's made it his mission to educate and connect people to oceans and parks. He's also an ambassador for the National Parks Conservation Association, and he was recently recognized as NPCA's top 10 under 40. So hope to see you folks back again in a couple weeks, and thank you all and have a good night.